This is an excerpt of my piece, Now and Then. A car slows as it passes. The driver and passenger turn to look at me. They're probably wondering if I'm okay. It's nearly dark and there is snow. I'm parked by the sign for Emmons Pond Bog, just lacing my boots to go down the path. I walk across the field through wiry goldenrod and Queen Anne's lace. I step across sagging planks over the spring run. Water is flowing over top of the boards and they are slippery. Woven branches of nannyberries and willows reach upward, black against the sky. Past the tangle of willows, my boots crack through ice among sedges and rushes. In the 1980s, when I studied psychology in college, I learned Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. We talked about these in classes on death and dying. The textbooks made it all seem understandable. When someone dies, they struggle through stages of grief. After a while, you begin to build a new life and go on. I experienced that when I lost my grandparents, aunts, uncles, and several friends. Caregiver grief is different. I was 47 years old when my wife Claudia first became ill. The onset was sudden. On April 4, 2007, she was working as a registered nurse. On April 5, she was disabled. I remember feeling numb as I sat beside her bed in an intensive care unit for months. Once she was home, I busied myself with her care and my work. I still felt numb. I was suspended in that state for years. I didn't recognize numbness as grief. We lived with losses. For years, Claudia laid in a hospital bed in our living room. There was no more lovemaking, dancing, or walking together. There was no going out or traveling except to doctors and hospitals. I missed the parts of Claudia that were not there. I still had wants of my own. I just couldn't fulfill them. I longed for Claudia to hug me standing up. I wanted to go out with her. I wanted her help in the kitchen. But now I did everything alone. I both had Claudia and didn't have her. Deep loneliness crept into my life. While Claudia was in the hospital, I sold my 1965 Riviera with a nailhead V8 and dual carburetors, too cheap to get some fast money. I remembered the humiliation of our bankruptcy that happened later. The canoe we both loved gathered a thick layer of dust. My fly rods did not see water for years. As regrets and losses piled up, I found myself swimming in a stew of anger, despair, and guilt. When my caregiver grief had gone on for 11 years, I realized I was not moving through stages. I was stuck, having never reached acceptance. I said I'm sorry when I woke up in the morning. At every discomfort Claudia felt, I said I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry again and again throughout the day. I was sorry for living. Darkness seems to seep out of the woods as if exhaled by tree roots. Gray poplars at the edge of dark pines look nearly white. Beavers have taken some down, leaving pointed stumps. 3 ghostly white poplars felled recently lie across the path. I climb over them and walk on toward the pond. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and inflicted loathsome sores on Job from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. Job took a potsherd with which to scrape himself and sat among the ashes. Job 2, verse 7 and 8. I found that the potsherd of caregiver grief is envy. I always thought of myself as the least envious, but that was when I felt successful. Back then, most of my wants were fulfilled. Now I spend too much time counting losses. I've been passed over for promotions at my job for years. It has hurt to watch newer employees get promoted to positions I used to think I would have. I know it is because I'm a caregiver. I'm always calling in late or sick with an emergency. I use my vacation time as soon as I get it for Claudia's doctor appointments. This has made me a less valuable employee. I need to take care of Claudia's complicated needs though, and I don't know how else to do it. I'm left feeling envious. I've grown distant from many old friends. I want their company, but I don't want to hear about their latest vacations or career advances. I don't want to see how they have renovated their homes. For 12 years, Claudia's illness has taken away the things most people measure success by. I'm angry over that. I wonder, am I childish? When one of my friends told me about their European vacation, I became angry. While you were away, I emptied bedpans, I spat. It was an impulse. Later, I felt guilty. I wondered, when had I become so bad-tempered? I want this envy to go away. No good can come from it. I'll leave it there. Thank you.